All right, mic check, good. So I'm Max Ceron, CWB Association Welding podcast. Today we have a really cool guest, Welding podcast.
The show is about to begin.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the CWB Association podcast. My name is Max Ceron and we're here for another great edition. Today we have a welder fabricator with tons of experience coming to us from Ontario. His name is Greg Pond and he is the owner operator of Above and Beyond Welding. So Greg, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. How are you today, Max?
I'm doing good and I can see you're in your truck right now. So for the people listening, the life of a guy who owns a business here.
That's right. I'm working out of my truck these days, so lots of fun living out of my truck here, make my lunch every day, and keep her going.
That's great, and the funny thing is that, for all the people that are out there that have small businesses, it never stops, right? So
Yeah, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I have to remind myself to put mute on my phone so I can have some downtime.
all right, Greg, so let's start a little bit with your story here. So where are you exactly?
I'm in Bowmanville, Ontario, so just east of Toronto, east of the GTA. That's where I live, but I work all over Toronto, the Greater Toronto area, up to Cottage Country and east out to Kingston. I have a second property just north of Kingston, so I do some work out here as well. And that's where I am actually today. Is I'm at my cottage property.
Okay, and is that where you were born? Is that where you've always made your career? Have you always been in that same area?
Yeah, I've always been in Durham region. I was born and raised in Oshawa, Ontario. Um, Grew up in Oshawa. Started out as a teenager working in a machine shop, just cleaning up behind the lathes and sweeping the floors, and that's kind of how I got into it. Uh, my dad asked me to go down and help out one of his friends in the machine shop on the weekends, cleaning up their tools. So that's where I got my start.
And that's a really organic way that lots of us started. My dad was a welder, so it started out with like, hey, do you just want to come and sweep the shop at 15 years old and start getting my hands dirty? And I honestly didn't want to. I was like, man, I see how my dad comes home every day dirty and tired and grumpy, and I don't want to do that. But it kind of sucks you in, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It sucks you in. It was the money that grabbed me.
Mm-hmm. You know, I
You
when
know,
I
I
started
was
yeah, when I started welding, I was at 6.65 an hour, and minimum wage I think was 4. So all my buddies were making $4, and I'm making like almost $3 more, and I was rich, man.
yeah, same here. I think I got paid by the day, so I would go in on a Saturday and clean this guy's shop for him, and he'd give me $20, $20 to clean the shop from top to bottom, offices, bathroom, kitchen, all the tools. It was great. I thought I was loaded, you know. Riding my bike from the north end of Oshawa all the way down the south end, which was about 5 kilometers. I think I started when I was about 14 years old, and yeah, I'd go down there and make $20 or so, and I'd just buy candy and pop, you know.
Before all the expensive toys start popping up, eh?
Yeah, and then you find out you discover beer and all that stuff, right? That's a
So
story for another day.
yeah, that's a whole other story that I'm sure many of us in the field know all about.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So like you're growing up in your area there. You said your dad was pulling you into shops, so you're used to seeing the trades around you. Um,
Oh,
as you kind of went through high school, did you know that you were gonna kind of follow through with the trades? Is that kind of the plan you had, or did you kind of have something else in mind?
I actually wanted to go and study law enforcement, become a police officer. That
Mm-hmm.
was my original plan. I applied at a local college here for law enforcement and was accepted. And when it came time to pay my tuition, I had been working two jobs at the time. I worked at Red Lobster as a food prep guy in the back of the kitchen, I'd worked there for 4 or 5 years. Plus, I had worked in these machine shops for a while. And actually, my dad started his own business, and I had worked for my dad throughout high school. Um, just as he had a millwrighting company. So I worked with him as a millwright, just mostly on weekends while I was at school. And then the summer that I had to pay my tuition, my dad and his partner came to me and said, Greg, you're making X many dollars here an hour, or you're going to go to school and spend X many dollars. What do you want to do? And I
That
had a car and my own apartment. I was already out on my own.
yeah.
So it was like, wow, I got to get rid of all this stuff and then head to college and scrimp and save, and or I can just go right into the workforce now and work for my dad, right? So I pulled the plug on the law enforcement and just jumped off the edge right into the trades.
And that's a tough gig because like how do you get from one to the other, right? Like it's not like you can be like, oh, I was taking welding and now I might take machining, right? It's
Yeah.
like welding and police enforcement or law enforcement. Those are like two very different branches, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I was always mechanically inclined. As a kid, like there's pictures of me, taking the tire off my dad's van without his permission. Like just go out there and pull the jack stand out of the van and put it under the van and take the tire off the van. And I don't know how old I was. I was probably 9 or 10 years old. And just things like that. Like I would get told, my parents stopped buying me toys for Christmas because I just take them apart and put them back together.
Yeah, I used to have a
And
bucket of spare parts of toys I've taken
yeah,
apart and didn't know how to put back together.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I do. Or I'd take apart toys and then make different toys out of them and put them together weird, right? So yeah, I was always mechanically inclined, and then working for my dad and his partner in a millwrighting fabricating shop and machine shop. So I got lots of skills on 3 different trades working there. And yeah, I just went with it. It was it's like second nature to me, really.
hmm So
No
then coming
regrets, absolutely no regrets.
so then coming out of high school, did you enroll into like a trades program right away? Like, I mean, you said you applied for the policing and then you were working, and then when you decided to stick to the trades, did you go to school for it, or you just committed to the shop and just stayed at the shop and continued to work there?
Yeah, I just committed to the shop. It was my dad's company, so I was, started right on the ground up from them. It was just my dad, his partner, and me at the beginning, and we just grew the business from there. And I learned from them. I learned how to weld and fabricate from them, and studied. I took a couple night school courses for welding and fabricating out of Durham College here in Oshawa, and that was it for the first 10 years of my career. I guess till I was about 28 is when I took a precision metal fabricating course at Durham College. At that time, the company had grown enough where we had a bunch of CNC equipment, brake presses, shears, iron workers, and I was doing more of the precision metal fabricating. And at that time, I was running the shop too, so I was the lead hand foreman there as well, and we had about maybe 10 employees at that time.
Well, and I was looking at your LinkedIn because you have, an online presence, and
Yeah,
I saw that you were with, I think, that company 21 years. Is that what that was?
yeah, almost 20 years. Yeah, yeah, 21 years. Yes, yeah.
That's a long time to stick it out in one place. You must have liked what you were doing.
Yeah, I loved what I did. I loved working there. It's a little tough working for family. I can't deny that. I don't work for him anymore. We went our
hmm
separate ways about 12 years ago now. So yeah, it was tough to work for family for that long. Lots of experience though. I don't regret that at all. It was totally amazing experience. I learned 3 trades. Um, I'm not Red Seal in any of those trades. I consider myself highly experienced in everything.
Yeah, and
And
that's I just had that conversation with a young fellow the other day, called me asking for some advice and just said, he's been welding for 10 years and he feels like he's pressured into getting his red seal and he wasn't sure if he needed it or not. And I said, "Hey man, that's totally a personal preference for you. It's not mandated by any government. Like I got mine, but I had been welding 12 years before I even put it on my radar. Like,
Mhm.
I was working fine and I was making good money, but I got it to make the jump into supervisor, and because I was thinking about starting up my own company too, right? And that's kind of what I wanted. I just wanted to have those certs behind me because I was 27 years old when I started my first company. That's pretty young. So, as a 27-year-old starting a company, people aren't just going to believe that I'm good. I wanted to have some paper to say that, well, I do kind of know what I'm doing, right? So,
Yeah, absolutely. That I see that a lot. I get that a lot of questions from my followers on Instagram. A lot of young people coming out of the trades, out of welding school, and pick my brain. They see me on there. I see my online presence, and I get my inbox full all the time.
hmm
And
so
same like you asking me questions. What direction do I go? What do I do here? Like you just got to pick what you love. Welding is such a diverse field. And you can be in a fab shop with a dirt floor, repairing trailers and heavy equipment, or you could be behind the bench welding some scheduled 10 stainless steel pipe,
yeah,
nice and clean, calm environment. So
there's a
you got to
million
pick what
different
you're good at.
roads. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love it all. I love it all. I've had my hand in all aspects of it. And, if you ask me what my favorite thing was to do, today it would be one thing and next week it would be something else.
Yeah.
Right now I love doing pipe welding. So I've been doing a little bit of pipe welding here and there. So I'm really really liking that. But a couple months ago it was the structural steel. I was loving climbing up the steel and welding in some heavy members.
Yeah.
So it just depends on where I'm at.
So as you were kind of pacing yourself through your career, you move from one job to the next and you're kind of figuring out, your path. As you kept going through these companies, I kind of followed your career here online. At
Yes.
what point did you decide that you wanted to start a business? Because like you had been in a lot of shops, and I mean, I never diss shops. You learn a lot of great things in a shop, and especially in terms of managing your time and managing jobs, right? At what point
Yes.
did you decide I'm going to start my first company, or is this your first company? Did you have a few other attempts?
Oh, this is my first company. So I left my dad's shop there. I went and worked for another startup company and help them grow. So my career, most of those places were startup companies. I just jumped from one to the other. It was what I was really good at, helping
Hmm.
these companies get off the ground, get them their welding certification, bring in young guys, apprentice them, train them, show them how to work, show them the tools, and then move on to another company. So that was mostly what I did. And then the last position I worked at, I was a production supervisor for Signature Aluminum in Whitby here. Great company, fantastic place to work. And then COVID hit, and they
Hmm.
laid off. They laid off almost 100 people,
Oh man,
and
yeah.
some of us managers they had laid off. And I got the call in, I guess it was July of last year, and said they weren't going to hire us back. And they gave me a nice package, nice severance package, and I spoke to my wife and said, "Hey, you know what? What if I go on my own, do my own thing?" So she was supportive of that, and I called a friend of mine. He had his own business, and he was actually one of my apprentices when I worked at a company. And he said, "Yeah, Greg, go and buy a pickup truck and a welding machine, and let's work together." So I did that. I took the jump and I went and I started working for him as a subcontractor and on the side helping him grow his business, his online presence, and at the same time trying to figure out what I really wanted to do, if I wanted to stay and work for him or if I wanted to just branch out on my own. And I guess just before Christmas, my wife and I decided that, it's time to focus solely on my endeavor. And I told my friend, I said, hey, I gotta go. I gotta focus on my stuff. If you need me, let me know, and I'll be there to help you out.
Mhm.
So that's where we're at there. He can call me anytime, and I'll come and give him a hand. Our relationship is okay there, and that's kind of how I got into it. So it's only been since Christmas, really, since I've
Yeah.
been hustling and grinding, trying to bring in some work for myself.
Well, man, let me tell you, that's an adventure in itself. Like I've been doing it in one way or another my whole life, and with the highs that you have of owning your own business, which are like the highest of highs. Like it's the best feeling when you do a job from start to bottom, and you're the one in charge of every step. That feels fantastic. But man,
Yeah,
some of the lows, they can get real low.
yeah. When you're sitting there and the phone's not ringing, and you see other welders out there hustling and getting jobs, it's like, man, what am I doing wrong here? And then next thing you know, the phone is ringing off the hook. Like at the
Mhm.
this week, it's been I've been doing lots of quotations, lots of job site visits. So um, it's looking really good for this summer, that's for sure.
So in your area, how would you consider the market to be right now? Do you think that it's good to be a welder in that area of Ontario right now?
Absolutely,
Coming out of COVID, you know?
absolutely. The trades here in Ontario have just, uh, from what I see, have gone crazy. Uh, I think that it's a fantastic opportunity for anybody that's getting into the field or coming out of college or even coming out of high school that wants to get into construction or a trade, is to now jump in on this trade boom right now. I constantly see on my Instagram contractors, carpenters, electricians, plumbers, welders, fabricators, all looking for laborers, all looking for skilled trades. So anyone who's out there that wants to get into the skilled trades, just start an Instagram account, start following construction guys in your local area, and hit them up. Send them a personal message, call them on their phone, like their posts, put yourself out there. That's the best way that I think in this day and age to get some credibility and get a good job.
Awesome. And on that, that's a great segue. We're going to take a break for our sponsors here. So, and then we'll be back with Greg's story about what's going on with Up and Beyond Welding out in Ontario. And so make sure you stay tuned. We're here on the CWB Association podcast with Greg, and we'll be right back after this break. And we're back here on the CWB Association podcast. My name is Max Ceron with you guys again here. Thanks for tuning in. I want to thank all the sponsors and all the people that have been supporting the show. We're number 3 in North America right now for podcasts that have to do with welding and steel trades, which is kind of mind blowing to me. We just about hit 5,000 downloads this week, so it's it's kind of mind blowing here because this is a little business that we started on our own here at CWB on the side, kind of off the side of our desks, and it's blowing up now. And Greg, you were just talking about that in terms of like social media. Like, I mean, I looked at your welding career, and you started like in looks like 1990. Um, we've seen. I've
Yeah.
seen in your career that you've been welding a long time. So I started in 93. You started in 90. So that means you're probably up in your late 40s like me. I'm 46 this year. You know, how is social media at this stage in your life? Because really, I know people our age who don't even have an Instagram, don't even care about social media, and they're doing just fine. But I feel like you and I, people that are really trying to step up and maybe be more of a leader and a mentor to young welders and young tradespeople, social media is it's the way to go. How does social media affect you and your company?
Oh, it's huge right now, and I had no idea until I started to get back into this trade. Well, start my own company and work for my friend Travis. Um, that it, I only saw it as, a tool just to look at things that I liked. I
Mm,
liked welding, I liked cars, I liked cottages, I like outdoor stuff, nature. So that's what I used my social media for, and to follow my friends. And then once I started putting myself out there in the trade and seeing, wow, this is interesting, like how businesses work on social media. So it's been a bit of a challenge and a huge learning curve for me to navigate how to do that, how to edit my filming, how to put my face out there. I've made some mistakes. I've talking on the camera, and then you stumble over your words or mispronounce my own name sometimes, or my own company name. I'd mispronounce my own company name and go, oh man, and then take 3, take 4, take 5 on the job site, and the customer's looking at you like, what is this guy doing, right?
Yeah, what am I
But
paying him for?
yeah, it seems to be the way though. Like a lot of these
Hmm.
companies that I work for also are on Instagram, so they understand the whole thing, the whole concept. So when I arrive at the job site, I'll say, hey, so and so, I'm just going to do a quick film here, a quick video saying where I'm on the job site and who I'm with today. And then I'm going to get to work, and I'll stop every now and then, set up my camera, take some shots of what I'm doing, and get back to work. And everyone understands. It's an amazing thing. It's an amazing tool, social media. So Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, even TikTok. Like
Yeah.
I make some TikTok videos just for fun, and now they're starting to grow a little bit. And I still don't get this whole TikTok thing really. It's not really my thing. I kind of just do it for fun, but um, the Instagram is my big thing. Instagram and my LinkedIn, and now I'm starting to get into the Twitter.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a learning curve for sure. And you're right about guys our age, um, trying to break into the social media thing. I see on my followers, when you look at the age group is majority of the followers are from, in the 24 to 35.
Hmm.
And once you get into our age range, 45 and up, the followers drop right off.
Oh, for sure.
So there's a market out there of those guys that run companies that are over 45 that need work, and I got to find those guys. Because right now I'm competing with all these other welders that are on Instagram, so that kind of is a little tough, right?
Yeah.
Uh, Trying to work with the trades, and I love working alongside of all the trades. So if there's another welder out there and he needs a hand, just give me a call, and I'll come give you a hand. I know it's a tough business, right? And sometimes you can't get help. But yeah, the social media thing, I just love it.
And the networking in welding has always been there, like always, my whole life. And I just had this conversation with someone who doesn't really know about the CWB Association, which is who I do the podcast through, because they think of the CWB Association being the same as certification or registration and all that stuff. And man, the association goes way back, like way before any of that stuff. Like my dad was a welder, and I remember being a kid and going to like bowling nights that the association would have. And it was just a bunch of people getting together to, have beers and talk shop, right? And
Yeah.
it didn't matter what company you worked for. It didn't matter if you're a pipe fitter, an iron worker, a boiler maker, a millwright. If you burnt rod or burnt MIG wire, you were invited. And everyone would sit around and talk, and we would help each other. And if someone was getting laid off, we'd help people find jobs. We'd support each other. And it didn't matter if my company was rival to your company. It was just about helping each other out because we got families to feed, and this is our trade. And welding is a cutthroat trade. It's hard. It's a hard trade to be successful in, and you got to put in a lot of your life into it to really be successful. And we understand that. And I think that Instagram now is kind of, or social media in general, is kind of bringing that back. Like you said, you see the 20-year-olds out there trying to make it, and they'll send you a question and you answer them, and that helps them out. And who would they have turned to if they didn't have that? You know what I mean? And that's what we're trying to do at the association, with the podcast, with our social media, and with the chapters, trying to get people back into the chapters to hook up and be like, yo, there's all sorts of people across this country that are super helpful and like to help.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree that there are lots of people like that. There are on the flip side too. There are guys that are just like, you know what? you're my competition. Get the hell out of my face.
Yeah.
You know, and those guys, they're successful in their own right, and I wish them all the best. But really, guys, it's not the way to go. Reach out,
No.
be polite, help each other out, support each other. There's always another way to do things. There's always a way that people can come together, help each other out, and we can all make money here. That's
Oh
what it's
yeah.
about, right? Making money, being happy, helping out the industry, not just the welding industry, but the construction industry as a whole.
Hmm.
Uh, I've been on job sites before where I'm there for 2 or 3 hours doing some welding. My time is done. I see the other trades. They may need some help. Hey guys, you need a hand? Oh, no, no, no. I'm good. I'm good. Well, here, I'm not getting paid right now because my job is done. I've quoted my job. It's done. I'm here. I can help you guys. You guys need to put those roof trusses up. You guys need to hang that LVL. I'm here. If you guys need a hand, let's do it.
Yeah.
So that's what I do. Like my name says, above and beyond. So that's kind of what I do. Give myself a plug there. I go above and beyond on these job sites, right?
So how did you learn, for the young people listening or people thinking about starting their own gig, which post coronavirus, a lot of people are thinking about starting their own jobs like yourselves. And I promote that, man. Entrepreneurs, go for it. Go for it. Um, how did you figure that out? How did you learn to register your company and quote jobs and all that stuff? Like, how did you figure that out?
Oh well, the quoting jobs thing just came from years in the industry, right? I've always been a supervisor. When I worked for my father there, that was kind of part of my gig. Was I had my own customers that I just went out and looked at the job and came back, made material list, quoted them, and start the job, do the whole job from start to finish. So I learned that in my 20s, how to do all that, how to project manage. And then growing up through the trade and maturing through the trade in different companies, same thing. Project management was kind of my forte, and building the teams and getting the guys work together and getting the jobs done from start to finish.
Hmm.
My strength has always been the supervisor role. Um, that's been my big thing. And then to learn how to do the business, again, like I went online, did some research, called people, called the business bureau, called the government, called accountant, called a lawyer. How do I do this? Help me figure it out. And people just help, right? You're just
Yeah.
polite to somebody and they're more than willing to help you out. That's how I learned how to register my business. It was a bit of a learning curve to register the company because I had never registered one before. And it was pretty simple. Just make a couple phone calls, fill an application, get my business number, my
Hmm.
HST number, and I'm ready to go.
Yeah, then I find that most provinces are actually pretty good at helping you get going. There's usually a website that walks you through it because, governments like people starting companies because that's tax revenue for them. So, hey, why not, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the lady that I spoke to on the phone, I had some problems with my application, and she said, "Hey, Greg, let's just start over." So she went and pulled up all my information and went over everything and just asked me questions, and she did everything in the background while I was on the phone,
Hmm.
and sent me the email for me to sign off on it, and it was done. It like a half an hour phone call with this lady, and I had spent a whole day or two prior trying to figure it all out, and half an hour phone call, and she's got it done for me. So if there's anyone out there that's looking to register their company or wants to get that done, you just call the CRA and go online, and there's some links there and some phone numbers. You call them up, say this is what I want to do, and they'll walk you through it. They'll give you a list of homework to take care of. You do
Hmm.
your homework, call them back, and you get it done. It was actually pretty easy, less stressful than I made it in my mind. That's for sure.
Well, the stress is what do you do with it once you got it?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, right. Yeah, for sure. Now I got this number here. Now what? How's this number going to make me any money? Oh no, that's not the way it works. Just because you got a company doesn't mean you can sit on your sofa at home and hope for the best, you know?
Yeah, just start patting yourself on the back. There we go, done deal.
Yeah. Okay, honey, I'm making money now. Not a chance.
So, you said your forte is supervising and working with groups of people. Now,
Yes.
as your business owner, do you have any staff? Are you looking to bring anybody in, or are you just on your own rolling?
Just on my own, grinding and hustling. That's it. I kind of like the step back, really.
Hmm.
Um, but when people reach out, it just draws me in. You know, I love people. I'm really social guy. I get along well with everyone. Um, so when someone reaches out to me, I think, oh man, I'd love to bring you in. I'd love to have you work with me. Now there's a whole list of followers that I have, and I would love to bring you guys all in and work alongside of me. And maybe one day I will, if I have enough work or I need a hand on something, I'll give you guys a call, 100%. Um, but
You know, that's awesome that you bring that up because I'm in that position now where I was teaching at the college for the last 7 years. And when you work at a college, you have quite a bit of time on your own and summers off and stuff. So I was picking up lots of side work with my company and keeping myself busy and doing shutdowns, whatever. But now that I'm in a different job now, and this job is like 12 hours a day, like 7 days a week. Like the association keeps me busy, man. I st-
yeah,
I still have jobs come in, and I just hand them to my buddies. I got lots of friends out there that, maybe recently unemployed or not making money or things are down. Or I'm like, hey, a job comes to me. I look at my network of welding or construction friends and kind of think, okay, you could have this one, you can have this one. And you know what? I don't care. Like, I don't need to make any money off of it. You guys need it. I'm too busy. I'm not going to say no to my friends. I'm going to try to help and share it. You want to share that networking of work, right?
yeah, exactly. Like I'm a mobile welder, right? I don't have a shop. So
Hmm.
if someone needs something built that I can't build in my backyard on my bench, I call up my local welder guy,
Hmm.
my local fab guy. And I what I'd really like to keep it local. I have a small network of guys that live in my area, that work out of my area.
Hmm.
So I contact them. Some bigger jobs, I use bigger fab guys. Some smaller jobs, I use the smaller fab guys.
Yeah.
Just yesterday, I went to a local welding shop here in Bowmanville and knocked on his door. We had spoke on the phone a few times and texted back and forth, and he invited me over to his shop. So I went over there and went in and saw what he did, and he literally has a 30 by 30 garage that he rents out and a huge yard where he stores equipment and sea cans and stuff. And new network, new guy
Hmm.
for me. He'll do all the smaller stuff that I need done that I can't do, and I'll bring it to the job site, install it, weld it, take it for powder coating, whatever it is, right? So that network that you speak of is fantastic. It's great to see.
Well, and us older guys, we know a lot of people just over the years, and
Yeah,
you remember the people you work with that were good, the ones that were nice and fun and never complained and were good welders or good tradespeople in general. You always remember them in the back of your mind who they were.
yes, yeah. There's a flip side to that too. There's those guys you want to stay away from.
Actually, I caught myself on a real negative one. I heard that one of the guys that I have not liked my entire career, I actually heard he got laid off like a couple weeks ago. And my first reaction was like, good. And then I was like, no, man, that's not ever
Yeah,
good. That's not nice. That's not nice. Check yourself,
yeah,
Max. Like
yeah, for
he's got a
sure.
family and stuff. And even if he was a jerk to me, no one needs to be without work, right?
Absolutely. I'm the same way. And all those people out there that I've worked for that, I left their company, no hard feelings to anybody. I
Yeah.
wish everybody the best on what they do. Everyone I've ever worked for has been great to me in one way or another. I've always learned from them.
Mm.
Um, I'm always learning, and I'm not a guy that holds grudges against people. I remember things. I remember how I felt. I remember how the situation played out. I learned from that. I move forward. I wish everybody the best of luck.
So now with your job and your company above and beyond, what kind of work would you say is your specialty? Like what do you like to like when this job comes up in front of you, you're like, "Oh, I'm on top of this. This is what I want to do."
Right now I'm kind of open to everything. Right,
Yeah.
like my skill set is so vast that everything from a lot of construction guys in the GTA are doing these flush mount beams inside houses where they're They're opening up the whole main floor,
Mm-hmm.
complete gut from top to bottom. They go in, they shore up the ceiling, they cut out the joists. We bring in a big beam, we put it up in the ceiling, put some posts down to the foundation, weld it in. That seems to be a pretty big industry here in the GTA right now, and I just love doing that stuff. Um, I also like to do pipe welding too. It's kind of, I wouldn't say it's new to me, but it's something that I really enjoy doing. The last couple jobs that I did, I really enjoyed it. I worked with a couple gentlemen that were longtime boilermakers, longtime steam and pipe fitters. And even though I'm in my 40s and I've done it before, you always can learn. And the
Yeah.
tricks that these guys showed me, I was like beside myself. I felt like a 20-year-old apprentice coming out of school again, you know.
And
But
that's an awesome feeling. It's a good feeling when you come across someone who's really good at something that you're not as good at, because then you're like, wow, wow, show me how to do that.
yeah, absolutely. And my enthusiasm with this guy George, he was he kept laughing at me. He's like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm okay." He's like, "Man, do you drink too much coffee today or what?" I'm like, "No, I'm just really excited to be here. Like, I don't want this job to end. I see the end of this job coming, and I still want to learn. So I still want to work with you guys. So I still have a contact there, and they have some jobs coming up that hopefully I'll get in on as a sub and help them do some fitting and do some welding there. But yeah, so pipe welding, I love pipe. I love the structural steel stuff. Um, Handrails, staircases. When I was a younger guy, staircases and handrails were a real big thing for me. So I don't mind doing that stuff as well. But really, basically, all metal fabrication.
Yeah. And it's funny you bring up that enthusiasm. When I was in my third year teaching, they brought in a new young guy, a new young instructor, just a casual. And whenever there's a new guy at work, especially in the teaching gig, let me tell you, there's kind of a little bit of snobbiness going on in the teaching world, because we're all supposed to be the best of the best, right? And
Yeah.
and so they bring in this young guy, and it's like, oh, sorry, there's my computer. They bring in this young guy, and it's like, what's he gonna know? What can he show us? And he's number one, super nice, like super friendly. So right away, it's easy to like the guy. And it's like talking to him, and he's like, I've been a pipe welder. I've been a pipe welder my whole life, like my whole life since I've been like 22. I started my first company as a pipe welder. I've been running my own trucks and all this stuff. It's like, well, that's pretty good for a young guy. And all of us had done pipe work, but never, 10 hours a day, every
Yeah,
day for
exactly.
years, right? And so we kind of were like right away being like, well, show us, how you do a F3 F4 on a 6 inch. Let's see what you do. And he just goes in like just like nothing and just lays down like the most beautiful welds ever. After he went home, we went and got a piece of 6 inch pipe from the back, put it in the saw, and when he came in the next morning, we had like 30 pieces waiting for him. And we're like, "You're showing us how to do that? We're, you're gonna be welding all day, buddy, because you got to teach us how you did that pipe yesterday, because that was fantastic." And like it
Yeah.
was, we were all like kids in a candy store with this, and he's like 15 years younger than us, but man, still best pipe welder I've ever met.
Yeah, there's some fantastic guys out there. The guys that I follow on Instagram, the pipe welders are just phenomenal. Those TIG welders that walk the cup, man, kudos to you guys. That is some skill there. You have to have a steady hand. I'm sure you guys don't drink coffee, as if you do. Or maybe that's what helps. Maybe the jitters help you walk that cup. I don't know. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
don't know.
I totally agree that you never know what you're going to get. Some young guys come in and they can be fantastic.
Yeah. And it's always like you said earlier, man. It's good to keep your eyes open and be ready to learn, because like it's not over. Like it's never over.
No, if you think you know everything, it if you think you know everything, then that's your biggest downfall.
Yeah.
That'll hold you back. That'll hold
Hey,
you back. That mentality. You
all
gotta
right.
be open
So
to learning.
you do. And as we're getting close to the end of the interview here, man, I feel like I could talk to you for hours. I'm gonna have to make
Yeah,
sure when I head out to Ontario, I'm gonna have to stop by and buy you some beers. But um you
for
know,
sure. Let's do it.
let's do it, and we
Go
can
burn
fire
some
up your
rod.
welder.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
exactly.
I'll bring my helmet.
Yeah, I have an extra one. It's all right. You don't have to travel with it.
Well, I like the way mine fits, but you know.
Oh yeah, yeah. Everyone, that's another thing too, right? Your gear. Everyone's got their own gear and their own way they wear their clothes and stuff, right?
Yeah, you bet. So, you know, with your company now, just for I'll help you plug it Above and Beyond Welding, mobile welding. It's on Instagram, it's on LinkedIn. There's lots of information. It's under Greg Pond. That's the name here. So if you guys want to look it up, it's out there. And when the podcast airs, we'll also share all your social media information too. But looking forward now, you know, the next 5 to 10 years, because now you only got, I hope, what, 15 years of work in you before you can finally just retire to that cabin and full time and cottage and just play with your tools. You know,
Yeah,
are
that's right.
are you looking to take Above and Beyond bigger, or you kind of just are happy with the pace it's at for like the foreseeable future?
Well, to be honest, I'd love to see it grow. I would. I absolutely love to see it grow. I'd like to bring in more business, and at whatever pace that happens, I'm comfortable with that. I
Mm,
don't want to push. I don't want to push it too hard and grow too quickly, and it get out of hand, and I can't control it, and then you end up swamped, and you end up, sleepless nights, and the stress all involved in that. And being an entrepreneur is a stressful job in itself. So
mm-hmm.
to grow the business at a comfortable pace for me would be fantastic. Bring on a staff, one or two guys or girls or whoever to come in and do the welding for me and do the fabbing for me. If I get to a point where it's too much for me to handle quoting jobs and being on the site at the same time. So yeah, I would absolutely love to see it grow. How I get there, well, just time will tell. I'm an easygoing guy, so work can
Mm-hmm.
come my way. I hustle, I grind, cold call people, make networking happen, and we'll see where it goes from there. But ultimately, ultimately in the like you said, to be at my cabin, my cottage is the ultimate goal. And then it would be at that time it would be more of a hobby and do side jobs with the local guys here just north of Kingston. But right now, my goal is to be in the GTA and hustle work out of there and see how Above and Beyond grows.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm sure it's going to go great. You got a great attitude. That's half the battle, you know, because for the dark dingy nights of entrepreneurship, you need to have that attitude where you just get up and push through, and you know it always works out. Like I have yet, and I'm being dead honest, I have yet to see someone who really puts themselves into their business have their business fail, right? Like you find the way, and you may have to adapt, you may have to change, things might have to move, but if you're serious about it, it's always a success, right? So I'm sure you'll be fine, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I see it all the time too. I don't see how guys can fail if you put forth the proper effort and hustle and grind, you'll make it to whatever you want to make it to. If you're happy being a guy doing small jobs here and there and working out of your garage, that's good. That's fine. That's great
Mm-hmm.
on you. Whatever you're comfortable with, right?
Yep.
So that's why I said we'll just see how it goes and how it grows slowly. Um, and I'm okay with that. So when I get to a certain point, I can make a decision then. Well, I need to bring someone on, or I need to bring two people on as a full timer. Um, but right now, I just see me sharing the wealth and sharing the business with other contractors, other welders out there. I'll be giving you guys a call. You know who you are. I'll give you guys a call when I got some work to do.
Awesome. So to end the show, I always ask the same question to every guest I've ever had. If you could give a piece of advice to someone looking to get into the trades right now, whether they're young or old, doesn't matter, a career change or fresh out of high school, what would be a piece of advice you give them going forward with their careers?
Put all your effort into it. Don't look back. Put all your effort into it. Make a decision that that's what you want to do. Set a goal. Uh, Reach that goal. Do everything you can do to achieve that goal in a straight line. Don't vary from that. If you want to be a welder, then be a welder. Go out there, study, contact people, get information, take night school courses, take online courses. Welding machines are so cheap right now. You can buy a little buzz box and plug it into your dryer outlet and run your cables outside, and you're welding in your backyard for under $1,000.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyone who wants to get in the field, I say go for it. Don't look back. Put all your eggs in one basket and do it.
And let me tell you, I was just at a forum, the Canadian Apprenticeship Forum conference 2 weeks ago, and 50,000 welders are supposed to be retiring in the next 5 years across Canada.
That's
So,
good.
yeah, that's lots of space for young people. So, hey,
That's
we
right.
need you. We need you. Get in. And I know the first couple of years are hard. I tell every welding student I've ever had that, because those first 2 years are hard, because it might get boring and it might seem kind of lame and you're not making the money you thought. Just don't think about that. Like, just like you said, Greg, you nailed it. Keep your eye on the prize. If you want to get to, if it's money, if you want to get to a point of X money, then do it. If that's your goal, figure out how to do it. If you're looking for comfort, then do it. Figure it out. I've worked with both ends. I've worked with guys that make 300 grand a year. That's what they want to do. Awesome. I've also worked with a lot of welders who make 70 grand a year, but they're so comfortable. They're home at 3:30 every day, weekends off. That's also a sweet life, because 70 grand ain't nothing to sneeze at. So you know what?
Oh.
The welding has every avenue that you could want. But you got to figure out what you want. Like, you need to figure it out for yourself, right?
Absolutely, you need to figure it out for yourself. Like I said earlier, there's so many different avenues to take in the welding career. Like you just said, you could sit behind a bench all day, make 70K, and be perfectly comfortable. Or you could get a job up north or out west or out east somewhere remotely and make 300,000 a year. You got no family, you got no kids, you got no wife. You go and do it, and you hustle, you grind. You make your money when you're young. You come back to Ontario or wherever you live in Canada, and you settle in on another job, and you just keep moving forward.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, this has been a great interview. I really appreciate you taking the time today to be with me, and for all the people that are listening, thanks so much for making this podcast as successful as it is. And I really hope you guys keep downloading and sharing this through your channels. And of course, the call out's always out there. If you know any great stories or people or companies that you want me to reach out to, send me the information. I'm always easy to get a hold of. Just hit me up through Instagram, askmax75, or you can email me at max.ceron@cwbgroup.org. All the information's out there. And also, if you want to get a hold of Greg, if you got some work for him, or you just want to talk to the man, the legend himself, you can you can do that. So thanks a lot,
Thanks.
Greg.
Thanks, Max. I appreciate it. And like Max said, if anybody's got any questions, you young guys out there, young girls out there that have questions welding, hit me up on my Instagram, go to my webpage. My number's there. You can just call me direct, send me a text, whatever. I'm there to help you out.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, everybody. And make sure you stay tuned for the next episode. See you later.
We hope you enjoyed the show.
You've been listening to the CWB Association Welding Podcast with Max Ceron. If you enjoyed what you heard today, rate our podcast and visit us at CWBAssociation.org to learn more. Feel free to contact us if you have any questions or suggestions on what you'd like to learn about in the future. Produced by the CWB Group and presented by Max Ceron. This podcast serves to educate and connect the welding community. Please subscribe, and thank you for listening.